Say hello to my little friends. Hey guys, welcome to another BAC review. My name's Reed and we're up here at Bill's Archery Center in Transfer, Pennsylvania. Today what I got for you is the 10-point Siege RS 410 crossbow, so let's get into it. Alright, so let's start with some of the specifications of this bow. Now it gets its name, the Siege 410, from the foot per second, that's its speed rating. So this bow is 410 foot per second with a 400 grain bolt. That's the all-new center punch 16-inch crossbow bolt. Now with that bolt at 400 grains total weight, it's going to give us a kinetic energy of 149 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, which is ridiculous. Now as far as the size, you can see this bow is incredibly small. Its axle to axle decocked like this is 12.3 inches wide, and once you cock it back all the way, it's only 7.5 inches wide, which is extremely narrow, and you just get a lot of power in such a small package. Now this bow is advertised at 7.5 pounds. Now that is without any accessories on it. So what I wanted to do was weigh this bow like I did the last one and give us an actual field weight with everything on it, the bolts, the scope, and everything. So this bow is just about 10.5 pounds field weight. So you can expect to be carrying it, 10.5 pounds through the woods. No company measures it, so when you compare it to other bows, their sticker weight is the same as this. That's without accessories, so you can still compare them in that regard. Now this bow, the last piece of information is that it's got a 13.5-inch power stroke. Now it gets such a long power stroke from this reverse draw assembly. You see how the riser is actually back here? That means the string has much more room to travel on the rail than it would if the riser was forward and this assembly was reversed. So you can get more power in a much smaller package. Okay, so to get into some of the features of this bow, we already covered the reverse draw feature a little bit and just how they get so much more power in such a small bow. So also on this, it has what's called a micro track barrel. Now, it's going to be hard to see this on the camera. I'll move it a little closer. That barrel is not smooth. It actually has grooves cut in it. So those grooves are made to reduce the overall amount of friction that this string has going down the barrel. So it's less friction, it's less wear and tear on your bowstring, it's just more speed, which is pretty cool. You still need to put rail lube on it just like any other rail, but it does give you an advantage over a standard flat metal rail. Now this bow comes with the 10-point Rangemaster scope. That scope does have a speed ring on it. If you're not familiar with the speed ring, most crossbow scopes, when you sight them in at 20 yards, your next couple marks at 30 and 40 won't be quite dead on at 30 or 40. With the Rangemaster scope and that speed ring, once you sight it in at 20 yards, you can go out to a further distance, and instead of using your elevation and windage to sight the scope in, you can actually use the speed ring to fix your drop. Now once that is done with the speed ring, all your yardage marks from 20 to the furthest one it has in the scope, I believe this one goes up to 60 or maybe 70, will just be dead on. It compensates for the drop of your bolt. You can do that with a different point weight if you want to run heavy points, different broadheads. So this scope is a really nice feature that they put on here. Now the next bit is the new trigger that they put in. It's called the 10-point S1 trigger. Now that S1 trigger is a 2-stage zero creep trigger. It's just, there's no travel in it whatsoever. It's a really crisp trigger pull. I think it's a 3.5 pound trigger pull if I remember correctly. And the last feature to talk about on this bow, which is my favorite, is this new AccuSlide system from 10-point. So this is the crank system. This is how we're going to be cocking the bow back. You don't have a pull rope that gets all tangled and jangled and a mess in your backpack or anything. This system is a fully contained crank in itself. So the way it works, it has a handle stored in the stock. So you just pop it out, just like that. And you can do it from either, you can't, it's not either side, it's not ambidextrous, I'm sorry. So to run this trigger housing down, you push in the button on the crank, you put it in the stock there, and it has two directions. It has a cocking direction, it has a decocking direction. So we want to push in the silver button right here and run it in the decocking direction. You'll see it just moved out. So now we can decock it and run it all the way down to the string. Now you'll see when it gets down to the string, the safety will engage when you clip it on. You'll hear it clip loudly, which is pretty solid. Now all you have to do is wind it in the cocking direction. And you'll see that that moves back all on its own. Well, not on its own. But one of the coolest features about this crank system is I can let go of this at any time without it slipping or moving or anything like that. And then if I want to decock the bow, it's just as easy. All you have to do is wind it in the reverse direction. And you can see there, it's decocked. So that crank system is easily one of my favorite high-end crank systems on any crossbow. Mostly because it's completely quiet, there's no noise whatsoever, no clicks or gears or anything like that, and there's actually no safety button. So if you want to let the bow down, you don't have to disengage a safety feature to do so. It's completely safe the whole time, whether you're cocking it or decocking it. Alright, so my opinions about this bow. It's a really good bow for the price point. Basically, 10 Point has two very similar bows to this. That are the Havoc and the Vapor. They're a bit faster and have a couple other features on them, but this bow gets you a lot of the same high-end features like the AccuSlide, the Rangemaster scope, and whatnot, and the same limb and cam assembly for a much lower price. I think this one retails at $18.49 or something like that. So to have a lot of their high-end, like their top bow technology in a bow under $2,000 is awesome. The balance is great because of the reverse draw limb, and I know we already talked about that a little bit, but like I feel like we could shoot it off my hands instead of needing a bipod or a tripod or something to shoot it off of. It's just balanced very well. It is a little bit heavy, but I mean, in my opinion, it kind of makes up for it just because of how well it shoots. Now, the big thing that annoys me about this bow, and it annoys me about a lot of crossbows that do this, you can see here the quiver is extended further than the foot stirrup, and the quiver hits the ground first. That really bugs me. It's just a pet peeve. It's not like it's anything structurally bad. It just, I don't want to have to take the quiver off to feel like I can cock the crossbow better, and I wish crossbow manufacturers across all of them just would have the quiver set back just a little bit further. It's not that much, it's just a little bit. But we already kind of talked about this too, the AccuSlide. It's a really good crank system. It's completely quiet. You don't have to disengage any safety features. I'm not going to rehash it, but the AccuSlide is just awesome. It's all fully contained and it's great. So yeah, I mean, the bow's a pretty good price point. You get a lot of technology for it, and that's really all I got for you today. So if you have any questions, come on down to the shop or give us a call. You can shoot any of the bows we have, no charge. So if you want to test anything out, you can come on down and come see us. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content, and we'll see you in the next one.